From Silicon Valley startups to Hollywood blockbuster movies, only the richest and most connected people can be part of the action investing into these initiatives. But now with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, anyone can invest and take part in both the risks and rewards of any new initiative. So what precedents are we seeing? What's happening in the movie and tech industry? And what do we need to know so none of us are left behind in the future? Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and welcome to Minting Coins. So, very excited about today. We're just getting back from one of our Bitcoin meetups. We have a Bitcoin NYS meetup in Rochester, New York, getting together a bunch of really incredible people. We have all sorts of people coming in and learning about Bitcoin and blockchain technology. And I guess it's really exciting because now that we sort of have a group of people who are meeting on a regular basis, we're able to talk about all these different ideas and deeper and even more meaningful levels. And that's why I like to do the show and look at the news and share all this information with you, because I just love getting your feedback, reading your comments, getting your emails, and just experiencing this journey and going through this ride with you. It's really, really exciting, and I just can't contain myself. It's one of the reasons that this channel is here. It's one of the reasons that together we're minting coins, is because, you know, we just have to let people know what's going on, show them the truth, and just get as many people in our family, in our community, in our neighborhoods to be part of this cryptocurrency revolution with us. So first, I want to say thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of this video. We have some amazing topics to talk about, and just really opening our eyes and expanding our worlds and our perspectives into what does it mean to live into a world past 2020 or past 2030 with new blockchain technology. So we have some amazing companies, some amazing ideas in the traditional business world. And what we see is that people have these amazing ideas, and it's hard for people to get traditional funding for their ideas. You know, it's interesting. It's sort of like credit and the credit score and the credit rating system, that the less that you need money, the easier it is for that person to obtain money, right? If you have a great credit score, then then it's just less likely that you need the money, because of course you're paying off all your bills and you're being so diligent. So the same thing is with the business world, and looking for money, let it be for a technology startup or for a great movie idea, or really anything at all. You know, all around us we see all different sorts of art. We see theater, we see movies, we see dance, we see music of all different genres and varieties, and it seems like everyone has some sort of great idea that they really want to share with the world. And so what is happening with the Bitcoin technology is that we're seeing the opportunity for ownership and the opportunity for idea exploration reach new possibilities, for new plateaus of what people are able to accomplish, and by accomplish, it is not just creating a work, but it's having the support from so many voices that is going to lift that work and allow that work to be heard. So I watch some TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, but let me ask, have you ever been in a scenario where there was a TV show that you really liked, and they shut off that show, or there was a movie that you wanted to see, and the movie studio said, no, we're not gonna make that movie for whatever reason? if all the fans were able to somehow group together and pool their money together in a way that would allow all the different participants to trust each other, and then to track the who has contributed and who's going to get rewards, then that system can really allow 99% of all the people in the world who aren't accredited investors with $1 million in cash on hand to invest in all of these different opportunities. Because right now, if you want to invest in one of these startups, or like Snapchat a few years back, if you wanted to invest $15,000 in a Snapchat, you would have to be an accredited investor to put that money in. And if you were, that $15,000 would probably be worth millions of dollars after Snapchat has done so well and has IPO'd. So this new phenomena, instead of these initial public offerings that we have in the traditional stock world and business world of IPOs, and allowing the people that already have the most money to get into these systems first, we now have ICOs, which are these initial coin offerings that are allowing anyone to purchase into a tokenized system of representation that essentially represents both the risks and rewards of someone's idea. It's important to distinguish that while it's blockchain-based technology, that the token is representing a company and the success of a specific company with their mission and their vision, with the people who are supporting whatever that product or whatever that service is. So when you're putting money into Bitcoin, you're putting your money into a market, and so that's a market with its own products that people are free to buy and sell, and that market is value in unto itself. Just like other markets. But when you're purchasing an ICO that's representing a company, or that's representing a movie or an idea, then you're purchasing into that company, that movie, and that idea. So if that company doesn't follow through with its promise, then those tokens will essentially be worthless. But with that being said, there's a lot going on, and we have some specific examples and some really cool examples to look at, both the good and the bad. And so let's take a look at the market, let's look at some of the news, and let's discuss. Okay, so here we are over at coinmarketcap.com. Taking a quick peek at the market, we're at 28.51 for Bitcoin. We have 24-hour trading volume at 1.6, almost $1.7 billion. A lot of money for most people, I would say. Market cap, as we discussed in our last video, over $100 billion. I guess we have that next mark to hit, which is, I don't know, 200 billion or 250 billion. That'd be $250 billion. And at this rate, and this is the middle of June, wow, I mean, we can reach that in no time at the rate that we're going. But at the same time, I suppose it can also draw back as well, although I think most people would say not likely, right? Really interesting to see all the money go into Ethereum. $24 billion, 24 times 2 would be 48 billion. So we see that, just that relationship to it approaching on the value of Bitcoin, especially with all the news coming out of Russia and all these tokens that are using Ethereum, all these tokens that are based on the Ethereum blockchain. That's probably giving a lot of support to that floor of that Ethereum price as well. All right, well, let's moving on, let's jump into the news. And so what we have here is that we have this one article from Cointelegraph.com. We have the founder, the creator of Firefox and Mozilla browser. If you've ever heard or used the Mozilla or Firefox browser, you're probably using it right now to watch this video. This is the guy that created the Firefox and Mozilla browser. His name is Brendan Eich, and he's currently the CEO of his new company, which is the Brave browser. And so in this article, we're talking about within seconds, this CEO raised $35 million by issuing tokens for his new company instead of shares of stock. And so this is what we're talking about in the intro, where traditionally there's investment rounds and accredited investors are investing millions of dollars into these companies, and then eventually there's a IPO where the company goes public, and then balloons from there. But in this case, instead of issuing new stock to new investors, the CEO is issued tokens to users. And so this was rated as a highly successful ICO, raising, again, $35 million in 35 seconds. It's a tremendous amount of money in a very small period of time. And so, again, he's created the Brave browser. It's a really cool browser, and I recommend that you go check it out. Consider downloading it. Really has a lot of privacy benefits, and has aspects of Bitcoin built into it, to where you can help reward some of your favorite websites, in a way that allows you to set a budget about, say you want to say, I have $10 a month that I want to give the websites that I love the most, because at the same time I have, advertising shut off on the Brave browser, and then it'll take that $10 in Bitcoin that you have budgeted per month and then distribute it to all the different websites that you visited over the course of that month based on how often you visit that website. And so it's not a lot of money when you take that $10 or that $5 and you divide it across, all the websites that you visit. But it really means a lot, and it really shows a lot to, just give back to the websites and the publishers who are creating this content that we're all consuming and enjoying. And so as a part of this browser system, the Brave browser is now going to have this BAT token. It's called a Basic Attention Token, created by the same the company that's developing this Brave browser. And as a part of this BAT token, this is blockchain system that's going to work between three different parties. It's going to work between A, the advertiser, B, the website publisher that's creating content and is posting the ad, and then C, the viewer who's consuming the content on that website and who's going to see that ad. And so this is going to be a system that the Brave browser is creating that's going to allow the advertisers to win, knowing that their ads are going to be published on websites and be seen by users. It's going to be a win for the publishers that know they're going to get paid for ads that they can prove are seen. And it's going to be beneficial for users because users are only going to see ads that they want to see ads. And inside the system, the users are going to win as well. Not to mention that to some degree, advertising is, or at least it has positive benefits in that, sometimes when we're being advertised to, we can generally use the products and the services that are trying to reach our attention. So if we were, targeted in a way where our privacy was protected and the ads were relevant, at the same time we could somehow benefit with the blockchain technology, then these are reasons why I think there's a lot of excitement over the BAT token. And so if you're familiar with Kix, the Kik Messenger, or Kik, the Kik Messenger developed in America announced its plans to create a Kik cryptocurrency token. It's a Kin cryptocurrency token. I think if it was Kik cryptocurrency token, that'd be too much of a tongue twister, right? So it's the Kin cryptocurrency token, which can be used for paying for goods and services. Another example of a company tokenizing aspects of their company for users. So what we're seeing here is a rise in these companies offering token sales instead of shares. And we're hearing about practically every single one of these ICOs because there's so few of them. This is really a relatively new idea that sort of started in maybe 2016 or so, but has really been picking up a lot. I would say almost exponentially, as we've been seeing the rise of other money come into the cryptocurrency space. Either there's existing holders of Bitcoin or Ethereum that have this Bitcoin and Ethereum to burn, and at the same time, on the other hand, it's investors that are buying Bitcoin and buying Ethereum, speculators, and then looking, any other token that they can go spend their money on. Most of the time just buying and selling and flipping, and not really buying in for the long-term advantages and the long-term, faith that this company is gonna, moon, because their vision is something that you believe in so strongly. So I guess it's important to understand your intentions when you're going into any sort of, risky ICO like this. And also understand the intentions of the people who are telling you about the ICOs. Do they really care about the company, or is it really a good speculation opportunity? Or, there's a whole number of reasons that someone would be telling you about these different ICOs. And, what I want you to know is that they're really risky. And 9 times out of 10, how often does a new company succeed in this world? There's a lot of issues that can come in the way, for a company's success. And long term, I would say overall, most of the time, for the majority of people, it's far better to just buy and hold the currencies that we know are the strongest and have the highest, the most likely chances of long-term success. Those cryptocurrencies being cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, like Litecoin, Ethereum. Hedging. Even if you're not a believer of Ethereum Classic, hedging the bets of Ethereum with Ethereum Classic. Dash and Dash with Pivx. I mean, we see these top coins in the top 10. Going back to the coinmarketcap.com. Looking at the top 10 coins, 8 out of 10 of them are over $1 billion in market capitalization. Nothing is a sure bet, and all of these coins have risk. Anything could go down to zero any single day, and ultimately we each need to make our own decisions. At the same time, I think that with the success that we're seeing in these coins, most of these coins are going to continue to excel, especially if they don't have the asterisks next to them, because these asterisks are bad news. These asterisks mean that the supply is not what the supply says it is, to an extreme or obvious level. Ethereum doesn't have one of these asterisks, yet we know that there's inflation possible with Ethereum. So if you can imagine, the situation is much worse when we see an asterisk next to something like Ripple or something, even like Gnosis down here, where it says that there's 1 million of these, but I believe there's maybe 11 million, 10 or 11 million of these coins that are in existence. And so when you get to this $268 price right here, this $268 price for these Gnosis coins are based on the 1 million, the over 1 million of the tokens. Because if we take, what do we do here? This is our market cap. So this is the total amount of money that's being put into Gnosis. We have 296 million. And if we divide 296 million by this 1.1 million, then we get a per token value of $268. If we take the true number of Gnosis tokens, which is, let's say, 10 or 11 million, and we divide that by the total amount of money that's currently in the Gnosis coin, then does that mean that the true value of a Gnosis coin is $26? I'm not exactly sure. It depends how you look at it or how you think about it. Maybe. I mean, who, like, what? I'm not exactly sure what's stopping these tokens from being released into the market. Just like what's stopping Ripple from just, creating another billion of these tokens and just decreasing the value of all of these Ripple tokens. So, there's huge risk involved in these, but at the same time, they're creating opportunities for different companies to find a new way of creating creating funding for their projects. So what we read here is that coins are predicted to become more common and widespread when cryptocurrency companies decide to use them in place of shares, which is everything that we're talking about here. Token sales are a new mechanism for blockchain-based companies and projects to raise funds from their communities and early adopters. So there's one part of this quote that is not true. So token sales are a new mechanism for any company or project to raise funds from their communities and early adopters, because this is not just for blockchain-based companies, as we're going to see in a second. This is for any company or any idea. And so it is also expected that a lot of large investors, including business owners and corporations themselves, are going to be involved in the sale of millions of dollars worth of these virtual coins. It's not really expected. That's what's going on. It's just a fact of the matter. Even with this BAT token, most of these BAT tokens went to some whales, right? Huge whales paying huge amounts of money. So it's not expected. It's known that people with money are going to be buying in first, just finding places to put their wealth where sometimes it's hard to find places to invest your money. And with these technologies, it's not going to be just people in America, but it's really going to be essentially anybody anywhere. It could be people in Russia and China and Japan, Australia, anywhere in Africa. They're going to be able to invest in any of these different ideas. So virtual currency firms are sure to leave some space for the smaller investor that would also want to participate. It's really interesting that this article from Cointelegraph is taking the perspective of, these ICOs really being for large investors and then just making it sound like they're simply going to carve out room for the small investor. As you know, 99% of all of us are the small investor. So it really seems as if, we would want to focus, especially when we're building community and building fans and supporters of these ideas, really making the chunk of these ICOs available for the 99% of the world that wants the opportunity to participate, that's demanding this opportunity to participate, without allowing the 99% of the small investors and regular folk, without denying them the opportunity, because maybe they make it so if you pay more money you get in first, or whatever, however they decide to do it. Let's hope that these ideas don't exclude the small time investors, otherwise that can create a negative effect, I think, from the community, who may recognize through education like you're getting right now that if small investors are excluded from participating, then we just might want to be aware that the systems that we're participating in are just using people and using the market to allow larger investors exclusively to participate, without really keeping that community open for all of us, which is really important, allowing everyone to participate, rich and poor, guppies and whales, and just all of us, because there's a huge risk here. And the reason I'm going over this so much is because there's a huge risk here for these ICOs to cater. And what I'm recommending is that when these ICOs are developed, that we ask and that we demand that as many people are allowed to participate who want to participate in that idea. I don't know. But at the same time, I don't even think it's a great idea for anyone to be investing in these ICOs if they don't have a strong hand investing in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency. So I don't think it's me wanting to have my cake and eat it too. I think that if people want to invest in these ICOs, it should be made available so anybody can. And at the same time, I think you should use extreme caution before letting any of these ICOs separate you from your Bitcoin or letting them separate you from your Ethereum. So aside from these companies, ICOs are expected to rise as more companies and organized investors become more accepting of virtual currency. What does this mean? Expect more ICOs, expect more money to be entering cryptocurrency, and more companies and more organized investors become more accepting of both this process and the sending and receiving of crypto. How are they getting the cryptocurrency? They got to buy the Bitcoin, they got to buy the Ethereum, and that's going to go into a cryptocurrency that's going to be bought and sold for Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is all going to facilitate the increasing of the market cap, way beyond the $100 billion where we're at now. This is all, fuel on the fire that it'd be cool if it all went into Bitcoin, but it's just supporting the whole infrastructure of everything that's happening. And so with all these different ICOs that are coming out and all these different ideas and all this different money that's entering the space, that's where the real risk of a bubble is, in my opinion. Think like the .com boom and burst, right? There were all of these different websites. Everybody had an idea. Everybody was getting funding from all these different, investors and people with money. And then the economy pulled back. Ships ran aground, people lost massive amounts of money, the companies weren't able to deliver to the shareholders. The infrastructure of the internet was fine. Ethernet didn't go away, fiber optic cables didn't go away, computer chips didn't go away, the internet kept on growing. But the companies that were company based took a hit. And so the shareholders took a hit. And so when we compare that to the situation where we're at now, Bitcoin is the infrastructure of the internet. Ethereum is the infrastructure of the internet. All these different ICOs represent the websites and the businesses that are being built on this infrastructure that are companies run by people and that need organization and the shareholders in this new world, that's you and I, or that's the people who are investing in these companies' tokens and these companies' coins. So, if and when, and I think it's more likely a when, we hit the bubble with this, in the crypto verse, especially with all these ICOs, what goes up, goes down, even though overall I think we're going in a, to the moon sort of direction. When this, if and when this bubble bursts and all of these ICOs take a huge hit, then we are the shareholders. The ICO token holders are the shareholders. And so, some institutional and large company investors might take a hit, but if you're holding these tokens and whatever this great idea that this company is doing, if you can replace how they use the blockchain as a database, then just like Andreas Antonopoulos talks about in his videos, then that company is at huge risk of, it's just huge risk because of the centralized nature of that company, centralized operations. So just use a lot of caution. So really quick, going a little bit deeper into the BAT token and going a little bit deeper into the disparagement of high net worth individuals and institutional investors versus 99% of everybody else who, just wants to throw $10 or $100 at some really cool idea. Vitalik pointed out in a tweet with the BAT token of an extremely high mining fee that was paid to get in the front of a line of the ICO funding. So keep in mind that this particular ICO is limited, and there was a lot of excitement for this ICO, and so there's a lot of money that went into this ICO and a lot of this money, just scrolling down here, let me just show you, 24% of the top 100 token holders, as we see right here, 24% of all the tokens went to this one address. And so Crypto Wolf is over here, and Crypto Wolf is asking, who's this guy that jumped in and bought 21% of all these tokens? And then over here you have, this gray chunk for this one address, and then you have this little super sliver, which is spread across these 3 addresses. I'm sure that's a hefty amount. And then you have, the other, 2/3 that's for other accounts. And so that's a lot of money that, from one person, from one Ethereum address that went in. I'm not sure if this is the guy or not, but this whole token sale ICO for the Brave BAT token sold out in 30 seconds, less than a minute. And so long story short, this person, there was a $2,220 transaction fee used to cut in line for the BAT ICO. Vitalik is just pointing out in his tweet that the Ethereum average transaction fee is $1 when you talk about, I think gas and transaction stuff. And so he's just saying the statistics include this $2,000 fee. So he's just saying on average it's probably less than $1. I think that was everything here that I wanted to go over. But this is a case where if you had an extra $2,000, let's keep on clicking on that. If you had an extra $2,000 just to cut in line, well, wouldn't that be nice? Not everybody has an extra $2,000 just in cut in line. I think if most people I knew had $2,000, they'd be happy with just owning a half a Bitcoin and then using the rest of that money to, maybe pay down the debt and buy some extra food, take the family out to do something nice. But in this case, they were able to purchase millions of dollars in these BAT tokens for whatever reason. Speculation, maybe they're an advertising agency, who knows. But it's just not cool. And then them allowing to cut everyone else in line just cut out so many other people from being able to participate in, something that's a really cool idea by a proven browser leader. And so the BAT token, the browser, I think has a lot of huge potential. All right, so it's not just technology. It's not just blockchain-based companies. It's also independent films. And we have this one independent film, and their ICO is saying goodbye to Hollywood. We have this article here from bitcoinist.com. There's an independent feature film called Braid that's going to set a new precedent for independent film financing using an ICO funding model. This new way of funding promises to disrupt traditional film financing models. Very interesting, and this is going to be using, again, another example of a ICO token company using the Ethereum blockchain. So independent film producers have been attracting financial support from all kinds of projects, and you're probably familiar seeing some of these projects if you use Indiegogo or if you use Kickstarter. But what this article goes on to say is that this type of crowdfunding is limited in terms of its potential, and it doesn't offer any sort of equity participation. And there's no return on investment. So all these backers and Kickstarter campaigns for these movies, we tend to be fans, supporting this, and we sort of feel vested. And it's really cool getting our, limited edition T-shirt or whatnot. But we're not financial backers. We have really no skin in the game, and we have no reward model for it to succeed, no ownership over it. So this new crowdfunding model has emerged to allow fans, investors, really anybody to contribute toward the idea. In the last example, we saw that with a technology company for Brave, the Brave browser, the BAT token. We know Kik is going to be doing it with a token. We're seeing it with so many other examples in the blockchain space. But this is a film. This has nothing to do with technology or blockchain, for that matter. So film projects are traditionally very expensive in terms of requiring all these different people for making this movie happen. And they require expensive accountants, financial managers, legal teams to maintain all these records. It's a lot of organizing, papers and putting papers into some sort of system. And then you got to have people maintain these systems, these databases. It's a lot of work. And as we all know, the blockchain can solve these problems, and the blockchain can, make all this information public and easily store it in one place. So in the case of the film, the initial coin offering from the film financiers, anyone that has these coins that purchase into this movie, they're going to be able to resell or hold their positions as they choose. So you're going to be able to sell early or hold on because you really believe in the long-term benefits of, say, this project. Yet you're going to be able to sell this token at any stage of the movie production. And so as reported here from Bitcoin, is the first time that this model is going to be used is going to be for this movie called Braid, which is being described and marketed as a psychological thriller and horror story. I saw the trailer below. It looks pretty good, I have to say. Not safe for work, so I'm not going to play it, during this video. But it's described as a female version of A Clockwork Orange. Mulholland Drive meets Heavenly Creatures meets funny games with the others twist at the end. I don't know. It seems like a lot of information. It seems like they can give away a lot with that sort of description. But I'm still excited about seeing it after it's done. And they're seeking to raise $1.4 million. Just make sure I didn't say that they already raised it already. And so they're using We Funds, Ethereum blockchain-based crowdfunding platform, to raise the 1.4 million needed. Not a lot of money. When we see Brave raise $34 million, we see all these hundreds of $millions entering into space. Who's to say someone's not just going to throw a little bit of money in that direction? And so Braid's ICO promises to pay out 100% of the film's revenue to the token holders until they recover their investment, plus an additional 15%. After that, the ICO investors will continue to receive 30% of the film's profits, presumably in perpetuity. So, hypothetically speaking, say the Matrix was a film that was, instead of financed by the richest people and movie studios or whatnot in Hollywood, say they had an ICO model, and then anyone that held these Matrix movie ICO tokens, would not only have received their initial money back plus their 15%, but imagine still every time someone hits that rent button on Amazon or wherever, that you'd still be making that additional 30% in revenue for holding the property rights that are being distributed and trusted in the version of this token, which is completely public, completely open, completely transparent, and is a way to allow these people to create art where otherwise, say there's only 5 major studios with money and there's only 10 investors and they all say no, then those limited sources of funding are all shutting out your art. They're all shutting down the expression that you want to share with the world. And this is a way that's going to allow artists and innovators and entrepreneurs to create to create their business and allow their business to exist and succeed, because they're going to have funding from everybody else in the world that wants to help them and see their vision become a reality. So then we have the Brave browser. So this link is going to be in the show notes below, so you can check out the Braid official concept trailer. It's a little strange if you are familiar with any of the movies that I mentioned above, so it's definitely not for everybody. It definitely looks a little weird, but it looks like an interesting movie. All right, cool. Last thing, and then we'll wrap up this video. So we're talking about all these different ICOs, and we're talking about being really careful before we're investing into any of these ICOs, thinking long term. I can't underscore enough. You guys know by this point that Bitcoin and Ethereum, these high level, top level infrastructure currencies that aren't companies, they're not owned by anybody. They're truly decentralized peer-to-peer. I see those as the infrastructure technology that's going to really exist for the long game. If this movie flops, or if this movie doesn't get created, or if something happens, with the director and producers on a plane, or something, where they just decide not to create this movie, then these tokens would be worthless, and then you'd be out that investment. So be really careful before you lose those tokens, because as more of these high-level institutional investors come into the blockchain space, as we see everything evolving rapidly, the reserve currency is the Bitcoin. You have people buying Bitcoin with dollars. You have Russians buying Bitcoin with rubles. You have people in China buying Bitcoin with the Chinese yuan. And if anything happens to any of those different currencies, even with inflation over time, it's hard to understand if you're trading, and if you're speculating, and if you're purchasing these currencies, if the currencies are actually going up in value, because with the deflation of the dollar, is the value of the Ethereum token really going up at new highs, or is it really just staying the same in relation to the value of Bitcoin? But the value of Bitcoin is increasing, and the deflation is decreasing the dollar. And so the point is that all the different currencies are bought and sold using the price of Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin is the reserve currency. I think that there's going to be gobbling up of the Bitcoin and the Ethereum blockchain. And so it's going to become more and more difficult to come by as these major companies come in and they just decide that they want to hold all of this Bitcoin as a reserve currency to hedge against inflation for their companies. And what we see over here at PitchBook, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal, which I really can't show you the article because I'm not a subscriber of that, and so it limits how much information that I can get. But Coinbase is going to become the first Bitcoin startup to join the Unicorn Club. So the Unicorn Club is any private company, typically a startup company that's been around for less than 5 or 10 years, but it's a private company that has a valuation that's valued at over $1 billion. And they call it a unicorn because it's so rare, because a company like that can be brought to the New York Stock Exchange. You can make that a public company and make everybody involved a lot of money, assuming that you're either an employee or an accredited investor that's able to get in that sort of gain. And that's what Coinbase is that they're a startup, and they've raised a lot of money in the past. They've raised $117 million in venture capital funding, and now they're seeking to raise another $100 million. That would give Coinbase a valuation of $1 billion, and all this is coming from the Wall Street Journal. This is really interesting because Coinbase operates the digital wallet, as we all know. It is how most of us are able to purchase Bitcoin and Ethereum to transfer our fiat US dollars into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so Coinbase is this digital wallet platform where consumers can transact with the digital currencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this funding is the largest VC around for a blockchain company. Coinbase has huge investors as a San Francisco-based company, including Anderson Horowitz, Rabbit Capital, and Union Square Ventures. And so the reason I bring this up is because Coinbase makes money through the transaction fees of these Bitcoin, the transaction fees of buying and selling Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin technology. And for Coinbase to continue its growth, Coinbase is going to have to, in my opinion, expand the number of tokens that people can buy and sell on Coinbase. We're probably going to be seeing only the most reputable coins enter into, you know, the coins that people are able to purchase directly through Coinbase.com. But I think that this is a sign of things to come. This is just showing that Coinbase is preparing with this billion-dollar valuation, bringing on another $100 million in funding. They'll be able to use this money for the development of getting these other coins onto their platform, which, you know, isn't cheap to get the security and the development that they're going to need, because they're a centralized exchange, and it makes them extremely vulnerable to hacking. Because with Bitcoin, you would have to hack over 51 to 100% of every single computer running Bitcoin. But with Coinbase, you know, it's probably just one or two, or only so many computers that's fewer points of entry to attack. And so that's why it's good to, when you have your coins and when you have your tokens, to have those in your private wallets to keep those safe. And when you have your Ethereum and your Bitcoin in your private wallets, be extremely careful about purchasing these tokens. There's going to be so many of these coming out, so many of these that, you know, I think it's going to blow our minds. When you told people that, you know, 10 years ago that everyone was going to have a blog, or that anyone was going to be able to have a website, people would just think that you're crazy. They would just say, we already have 3 TV stations, and there's already, you know, 2 or 3 cable news stations. Why do we need another website, you know? Yet here we are, so many websites going up all the time. The ICOs are, I think, going to be very, very similar. So imagine taking your Bitcoin and, you know, your total portfolio of whatever Bitcoin or Ethereum, let it be a half a Bitcoin or one whole Bitcoin or even 10 Bitcoins. If you're going to invest, you know, a half a Bitcoin or 10% of that into all these different companies, and then you're left with no Bitcoin or no Ethereum, where is that going to leave you? Just things that you want to consider as you're parting with your, you know, hard-earned Bitcoin, because this is super limited. This is super exciting, and I'm really happy that you've taken the steps to learn about this information, to join me to learn about this latest little bit in what's going on. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sticking around. Hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. And just so you know, I'm really excited that these videos are also posted on Steemit. So Steemit is an awesome community. It's an awesome place where we can share ideas, and we can post information, and we can start exploring what it's like to use social media on the blockchain. Especially because I think we're going to be getting additional blockchain social media websites that are going to allow so many more people to participate, not just about decentralized currency, but using decentralized currency. And I'm glad that we're exploring all of this together. So thanks for sticking around. Look out for the next video. We have some exciting stuff coming out. And until then, I'm glad that we're minting coins.